Hello, and welcome to this episode of Batavia Spotlight, where we get to know more about our community organizations and their businesses here and around Batavia. Our guest today is Kevin Drendel from the law firm Drendel and Jansons, and thank you so much for being with us, Kevin.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about your firm?
Sure. Our roots go back to my father, who began practicing law in 1961 in Aurora. And we moved to Batavia in 1969 as a family. Okay. But he kept his practice in Aurora. He was with the Reed Oxenschlager Murphy and Hupp firm, which was the largest firm outside of Chicago at the time. Mm-hmm. And he left that firm with 3 other guys in 1981, and I joined the firm in 1989 as a law student doing summer clerking. And then 1991, when I passed the bar, became an attorney with the firm. And that firm broke up in 1994 and moved up to Batavia. So our roots go back in Batavia to 1994.
Right now, can you tell us about the kinds of things that you handle within your firm? What are the branches of law that you specialize in now?
Well, we don't do everything. We have about 4 focuses and lots of little branches that branch off from that. The major focus in terms of volume is family law, which was what my father did, and 3 of the attorneys in the office do family law, which would be divorce, adoption, guardianship, custody support, those types of things. Mm-hmm. Another focus is estate planning and business. We represent many dozens of businesses locally. And the estate planning kind of goes hand in hand. That's kind of the personal side, although you don't have to have a business to do estate planning. Right. And then we have a municipal focus. So my father started representing North Aurora in 1967. We still represent them. We represent Batavia. So we represent the 2 communities that we have footprints in. Mm-hmm. We actually were the firm that did the legislation for IMSA back when IMSA started, and we represented IMSA for 15 years or something like that. So
IMSA is the Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy in Aurora.
Right.
And it is a showpiece for the educational system.
Right. Rich Horowitz drafted the legislation. He passed away from cancer about the time I joined the firm.
That must have been a very unique and challenging thing to do, because it is a unique entity within the system, and so you had to get something that made sense legally and made sense as far as the structure of state government.
Yeah, it is not part of the public school system.
Right.
And it's not a private school. It is a publicly supported school, but because it's not part of the public school system, they can draw from people like Leon Letterman from Fermilab, who doesn't have a teaching certificate.
I didn't realize that.
But who obviously is an invaluable asset to a place like IMSA, where you're trying to train the brightest.
Absolutely. Now, I know your firm has had numerous awards and recognitions. Can you tell us about some of those?
I knew you were going to ask that question.
You brought your cheat sheet.
I did, because I don't want to miss anyone. So,
excellent.
Well, I'll start with myself. I was second in my law school class. I was an editor of the Law Review. I have a published article in the Northern Illinois University Law Journal. I was the local King County Bar Association president in 2002, 2003, and I currently have an AV rating with Martindale-Hubbell, which probably means nothing to anyone other than attorneys, but it's the oldest attorney rating system rated by peers and by clients anonymously, mm-hmm. and only about 1% of the attorneys in the country have an AV rating. So I'm just going to hit the highlights.
Okay.
Mark Brent in our office, who's practiced about as long as I have, recently became a member of the National Association of Distinguished Counsel, which, again, probably doesn't mean anything to anyone other than attorneys, mm-hmm. But about less than 1% of the attorneys in the country are members. So.
Wow.
a pretty rare distinction. He's been asked to write a chapter on family law to attorneys, a treatise for attorneys, which is published, and then he was asked to write a book for clients, which is published. And he just received this year the Kane County Bar Foundation Pro Bono Award, which is given out to one attorney every year for their provision of legal services to people that can't afford them. Carolyn Jansons was 7th in her law school class. She was the first outstanding new lawyer for the Kane County Bar Association in 2005, which is when they started giving out that award. She last year was named top 100 family law attorneys in Illinois by the American Academy of Legal Advocates, again, a group that nobody cares about much, but we do because it means something. And she'll actually be the Kane County Bar Association president in 2 years. She's the secretary-treasurer right now. Roman Seckel was first in his college class at St. Norbert's, interned with Senator Peter Fitzgerald, received the Lincoln Award for Writing from the Illinois State Bar Association in 2007, was the outstanding new lawyer in Kane County in 2010, and just recently, within the last month, was named top 10 under 40 lawyers by the Illinois National Academy in Illinois, by the National Academy of Family Law Attorneys.
Excellent.
Larry Lobb was the outstanding new lawyer in Kane County in 2011.
Good. Following in the pattern.
Yes. And he has been on the Kane County Bar Association board since 2012 and will be the president next year. So we're going to have back-to-back presidents from our firm. Okay. And finally, Tyler Stevenson, who's our newest associate, graduated magna cum laude from Florida State with a degree in finance. He was magna cum laude in law school and was an Army Ranger who attained the rank of sergeant and led 2 deployments in Afghanistan.
A multi-talented person, and certainly thank him for his service to the country.
Absolutely.
That's phenomenal. Now, when somebody's looking for a lawyer, what should they look for? Well,
you don't necessarily want what you see on television.
Okay.
Attorneys, I think, are misunderstood in terms of what we do, and the slick attorney that is always in court is not necessarily the picture of what attorneys do, and it's not necessarily the picture of the kind of attorney that you want. You really want someone who has a breadth of experience in the area of law that you're looking for, and not just experience, but has a good reputation. That's highly a really important thing is that you get someone with a good reputation. You want someone who's going to work hard. You want someone who's going to listen to you, and someone that you can communicate with and will communicate with you. The number one complaint that people have about attorneys is they don't communicate. They don't tell me what's going on. So those are some keys. Okay.
How can somebody contact you to learn more about your firm or to see if perhaps your firm is a firm that can help them in their situation or in their area of need?
Well, we have a website. It's www.batavialaw.com. Our number is 630-406-5440, and those would be 2 ways you can contact us through the website. We have a Facebook page and a LinkedIn page. You can type in, search our name, and you'll find us.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about law and your firm and the kind of things that we can expect when we go looking for a lawyer.
Thank you.
And now we'll take a brief time out to hear from some of our sponsors. We'll be back in a moment.